Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year for another quick battle ladder replay, today on the Gorgazan map. I am playing the Hag Graef faction led by the Scion of Hag Graef himself, Mr. Malice Darkblade. We'll pop it on a pause. My opponent is playing the Empire, led by Balthazar Gelt. We'll go through his force just quickly. So he's taken quite a wide front line. Or wide-ish front line, I suppose. So a couple of spearmen on the flanks with shields, a few swordsmen amongst there. A bit of a staggered formation here as well, and a couple of flagellants. So flagellants are pretty good. They deal with light infantry reasonably well, and they're unbreakable. So low micro. He's also got a unit of spearmen with shields behind a cannon piece back here. He's taken quite a good skirmish cav, quite a solid skirmish cav core here. So 3 units of pistoliers and 2 units of outriders with grenade launchers. These guys are really good at working down tightly packed infantry. Obviously with their splash damage, they can potentially wipe out units of infantry very quickly. Also has 2 units of regular Empire Knights in the back here. So some good sort of cycle charge potential here. Good cheap heavy cav. 2 units of huntsmen as well, which are an interesting pick. With their anti-large missiles, they're not generally taken in this matchup, but I think they have a bit of synergy with Balthazar Gelt. We'll get to that in a second. For his heroes, my opponent has taken a witch hunter, which sadly is a unit that isn't seen very much anymore. Used to be super popular before the changes to accusation. Accusation is a general sort of a general debuff, I guess now, but it used to be a direct damage spell. So very good for character sniping in the past, but yeah, sort of has fallen out of the meta a little bit, but has some plays. It's sort of a strange unit in a way because they're a hybrid unit which aren't great in combat, but have I guess a limited missile play as well with their range, but it's cool to see it nonetheless. And then we have Mr. Gelt, Patriarch of the Colleges of Magic, up here on his Pegasus. He has taken Searing Doom, Plague of Rust, Final Transmutation, as well as his Staff of Volans for his improved recharge rate. So, as well as Arcane Conduit, capable of actually getting a lot of Winds of Magic over the course of the battle. For my own forces, we have a little Vanguard deployment of Dark Riders here with shields. In the front row, we have some Bleak Swords and Blackheart Corsairs. Blackheart Corsairs trade really well with stage troops. Basically, they'll trade well with any Empire infantry apart from Great Swords. 3 units of Dread Spears in the back here, and I have taken a bit of a core of Cold One Knights and Cold One Dread Knights with the Knights of the Ebon Claw, who have just a sensational unit model. One of the real good-looking unit models in the Dark Elf roster. I've taken a Sorceress of Fire, Darkstar Cloak, Fireball, Burning Head, pretty much self-explanatory there. And as I said, I have taken the Scion of Hag Graef himself, Malice Darkblade, with his excellent black metallic armor on the Cold One Spite. So we'll pop it on play and get underway. Obviously, I will be having to make the moves here on my opponent, given he has the range superiority with the cannons and the pistoliers. I decided to go quite wide with my own cavalry. Pistoliers and grenade launchers are quite common quite common picks in the Empire roster, particularly in this matchup, because they're really good at evening out the infantry fight, which generally, unless the Empire really invests, tends to go in favor of the Dark Elves. So one thing to note about, obviously, Outriders with grenade launchers, though, is that they do not have 360-degree firing arcs. So Dark Riders do counter them very well, but with the added punch of the Pistoliers here, just going to have to be wary of not exposing my backs to them. Obviously, the shield block chance does help. So as we see here, obviously my opponent is rushing up to get these to get these grenade launchers in a firing position, and some really, really good damage going in. Not a lot of unit models killed, but 3 here, 1 or 2 here, but some very, very good damage being put in before the flagellants come in to buff the front line. Plague of Rust, upgraded Plague of Rust going in on my Dread Knights here, the Ebon Claw, and now the Huntsmen with their anti-large bonuses are going to have some pretty good shots in on these guys. You see their armor's down to 60. 60 armor's not bad, but it's not great. 120 is obviously preferable. Syrian Doom catching a few models here, but I get massively overextended here, and with the combination of Plague of Rust and Accusation, now their armor's down to 30, their melee defense is 28. These Empire Knights have charged in, and look at that. 12 kills on the Knights of the Evenclaw, and they are out of the fight. Unfortunately, my Burning Head here just sort of pivots away and doesn't catch that unit of Huntsmen, and now Malice Darkblades are sort of fighting unsupported here. This unit of Cold One Dread Knights, though, has managed to catch a couple of these Pistoliers, and with these Cold One Knights coming in, these guys are really going to get worked down pretty quickly. We see the Flagellants here really suffering at the hands of the Blackheart Corsairs. That's a really, really unfavourable matchup for the Flagellants. They're being killed very quickly, and I have managed to even push around into the flanks. I'm trying to sort of work this unit of Dark Riders to try and distract this Spearman so I can get in on the cannon, but you see this unit of Dark Riders here is coming down. Another Syrian Doom going down on this Cobra Knight's taking out a few unit models, but this Witch Hunter here is being hunted by Malice, and you look at the discrepancy in stats here. He is currently rocking 75-60 melee defense, melee attack, and the Demon's Curse has gone down. And this Witch Hunter is just not in a fight that he wants to be in here. He's broken. His melee defense is 10, and Malice is going to hunt him down and not let him get away and come back to the fight. So the Pistoliers have sort of been pushed off. The Flagellants are dying, and the Dark Elf Infantry now is looking to sort of rejoin the fray over here. A nice little pincer move by myself here. These Dark Riders have engaged these Empire Knights, and the Cold One Dread Knights have sandwiched them in, and we look at their unit models drop in, health drop in. They have managed to see off the Dark Riders, but these Empire Knights have really taken a whooping because of that. The remaining Knights of the Evenclaw have come back. Don't know if they'll be able to really do much, but the Huntsmen getting some shots into my Dark Riders. The grenade launchers going down here into these fleeing Dark Riders, but now the regrouping Dark Elf Infantry here is really going to be tough for the Empire to deal with. The cannon piece has been pushed off by a unit of Dark Riders. Malice is popping his buffs here, and a big blob fight ensuing around this unit of Empire Knights with some tattered remains of the Empire Infantry. Kind of not being able to stand up to the onslaught being brought upon them here by the Dark Elves. Another Burning Head going down. Doesn't have a lot of good targets at this stage, so I decided to just use the Winds of Magic and maybe try and rout them off with the burnt debuff effect from flaming attacks. Another Syrian Doom. My opponent has really spammed the Syrian Doom well and has got some good casts on that. Some nice damage and unit models being dropped on the Blackheart Corsairs there, while the Outriders with grenade launchers fire in. But it's looking a little bit grim for the Empire at this stage. The cannon piece did try to come back. He's at least got his Huntsman shooting in, but these Cold One Dread Knights are smelling a cheap kill here on the Huntsman. Good play by my opponent to Plague of Rust him down. He's been pretty good with his magic use with Balthazar. He's had some really good synergy with the Law of Magic. Doesn't manage to skip the fireball there from my Sorceress. And yeah, these Huntsmen are just being preyed upon by the Dread Knights, or those are actually Dread Knights, not even the regular ones. And with the Blackheart Corsairs bearing down on them, my opponent does concede defeat prior to, probably we weren't too far away from army losses being called there for the Empire. So a pretty good game too, obviously very different builds. I was keen to try Malice Darkblade and decided to get in theme with some Dread Knights and sort of play, I guess, a semi-themed battle. The Blackheart Corsairs obviously had great engagements there against the Flagellants. The rest of the infantry here is fairly cheap for the Dark Elves, but still does trade relatively well with the Empire infantry. The cavalry play, I mean, those are... The Knights of the Ebon got absolutely demolished by a good overlap between the Plague of Rust, fire from the Huntsman, as well as an accusation from the Witch Hunter. Yeah, they did nothing. I think they had 12 kills when they got routed initially. So the 2 or 3 of them that came back managed to get a few extra kills. But yeah, good play to knock out a really expensive piece there. But these Dreadwon Knights here got 2 chevrons. Neither of them were on them prior to the game. 176 kills. Some good. I think it was this unit of Dark Riders here which sold their lives to pincer in a unit of Empire Knights, which these Dread Knights just preyed upon. These guys also did the Colwyn Knights and this unit of Dread Knights got a number of kills on the Pistoliers here in the early game as well, which managed to push them off. And from there, I basically just found a number of favourable engagements, which was just sort of snowballed. Malice hunted the Witch Hunter. That's not a fight that Witch Hunter wants any part of. Balthazar Gelt got a ton of Winds of Magic and some really good Searing Doomspan and Plague of Rust. So good play there by my opponent, but the cannon didn't have a big monster to go after. It got probably some shots into my cavalry early, but it was shut down fairly quickly. I think just my mobility here, catching those Pistoliers in the early game, was probably allowed my cavalry to move around quite freely, and the infantry fight obviously went in my favour as well. So cool game using Malice Darkblade, who's, I guess, not a great legendary lord, but is pretty beastly in combat himself. I didn't even have to pop Zarkan to save him in this battle, with his other melee buffs obviously causing damage to himself, and no healing on the Dark Elf roster outside of Soul Stealers. He can be a risky pick, but he probably did what he needed to do in this game. So thanks to my opponent, LP Von Arcadius, used Balthazar really well, but a win here for the Dark Elves. Thanks very much for checking it out, and we'll see you soon. Catch you later.